Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jamie. I'm just on my way back from Staples. I had to try to fix my daughter's homework assignment. It was filled out wrong, and my wife asked me to, just fix it. Just make it like it never happened. I'm at a stoplight. Let me see if I can show you. So this is what it was like before, right? And this is what it was like when I was finished. I know this thing didn't look the greatest, but all right, so not bad. I did a pretty good job. I think it took me some hours to do. I had to use whiteout tape and liquid paper and make multiple copies. I mean, if I had the Adobe, which is why Adobe is a great product, great company, Photoshop, I know how to use it. I didn't have it on my I don't have it on my home computer because I don't really use it anymore. But it is a handy tool, and I was like thinking 2 hours ago, man, it sure would have came in handy for this, because you have to try to edit each line and take out the graphs, and you could just cut and paste. On digitally, you can just put that little whiteout bar across it and just delete, bang, 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 and then just then print it out. So this one I had to kind of go by line, redraw the lines. It's a real pain, but part of the process, right? And what I wanted to talk about today really was just one thing, particularly, and as it's just like me thinking out loud here on Sunday, was about the people that you surround yourself with, making a big influence on your company, your business, everything in your life, I think, has a major impact, on how you live day to day, and how your business is going to go forward. And the reason I'm saying that, not because I'm a multimillionaire, because I'm not, but my experience of working for those people and the success that I've been able to have, I've found, looking back over the path that I've come with, that I'm a Christian. I believe in the Bible. I'm not trying to get into that here. Not that I'm ashamed of it in any way. But regardless of your faith, regardless of what you believe, whether you're a Buddhist, a Muslim, Jehovah's Witness, Mormon, whatever you believe, if you're a Catholic, one thing we could all agree upon, most likely, is that just like an option contract have an expiration date, so do we. We do not know that expiration date. Although I did think it was interesting. I was listening to something yesterday by, who was it? It was a Grant Cardone, actually, talking about something called 10X Health. Again, I'm not intentionally trying to promote it. I don't know much about it. But he was saying that Dana White got on this program, and there's something that they could do to test your blood. I don't know if this is true, where they can tell you the exact, within a month, your expiration date. I think that's pretty fascinating. I don't know if I'd want to know that. But the reason why you'd find out when they do all these tests is because it has to do with partly your lifestyle. So like if you're eating bad and if you smoke or drink excessive or whatever it is, there may be some things that are able to show up, right? And Dana White's guy said, his report said he had 10 years, a little over 10 years to live, and he had to make some changes. So I think that's interesting, right? But who knows? There's still things that can happen that are outside of your control, besides just how you take care of yourself. I mean, there's tragedy, right? There's accidents. There's things that befall us that we don't anticipate. So our time is limited. So we're trying to make the most of it with our friends, our family, our loved ones, and whatever you hold as a higher power, above yourself. So for me, like, whatever I accomplish from here on out is just temporary. So, but I'm trying to do the best I can. It's no excuse to sit back and just go, it is what it is. That's not how I look at it. I think that a lot of companies, there's a company that comes to mind, that they are making changes, and Elon Musk was talking about recently with Tesla. He goes, one of the reasons and I'm not verbatim, but and one of the reasons he believes that Tesla, right, and when I mean Tesla, I mean all-encompassing Elon Musk's companies, are going to continue to be successful, right, God willing, and they can keep growing and scaling and, you know, that type of thing. It's because they're so far ahead of when it comes to electric vehicles and solar power and SpaceX, the Boring Company, and all these AI and the things that they're doing and growing, and all the smartest people that are out there. I am not one of them. I don't have a college degree. I don't have a master's, a doctorate, a PhD. I have friends and family that do. I'm not against it. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, and it's not a good thing. But there are a lot of successful people that don't have it. But certainly, people that are like engineers that are immensely the level of intelligence that they have, genius level. Some of these folks are just. It's like their minds are like supercomputers, right? The way they process information. I've in the auto business industry, whether I sold Porsche Audis or Volkswagens or Toyotas, or it doesn't matter what franchise we have. We come across different people, different entrepreneurs, engineers, MIT grads, people that are very smart, and their thinking is different, and the way they look at stuff. And I always respect that when I was doing business with those folks that were engineer background, civil engineers, or just regular, people that have an engineering background, regardless of how far their education went, because the way they analyze things, they're very technical. They have to see it all work out. They have to do the math for themselves. I mean, it's really fascinating for me the way that works. But Elon Musk was saying that all the people want to go work for him. The best, the A players, the people that can do the job of 100 people, 1,000 people. I heard that the engineers that work there, again, this is hearsay, are able to do the ability of 1,000 engineers or more. Now, that's also interesting to me, that the people that smart, they're thinking. So whether it's 10 or 100 or 1,000, right, or more, you got to think that these are the A players. I could see that. This is like a sports thing, analogy, where people are, top level athletes that are very well known in college or professional sports. It's because they bring something to the table that nobody else does, either through natural ability and or their ethic of training and how committed they are, whether they're an MMA fighter or a professional basketball player, whatever it might be, that gets them there. So if the best people are working for companies like Tesla and SpaceX, then everyone else, who are still probably way smarter than me, are going to work for these other companies. So he's saying, I have the best. We have the best. And I got to tell you, as somebody who is not in that space, other than maybe the auto industry part of it, I can definitely say that whenever I've seen companies, I worked for one where they pushed out, a new owner came in, and I mean, I'm not going to call them out, but a new owner, which was a family member, came in and took over the family business from 2 generations before him. And the guy had no experience. He didn't work in the business, but for a very short time. He went to school for a little bit. It's called NADA school, but that doesn't make you a pro. It doesn't make you seasoned and experienced. The guys in most businesses, right? Like if I go to Voc Tech, they're not just going to teach me textbooks to learn about how to be an electrician or a plumber. They're going to actually have me have, because my younger son did that for a couple of years. He did carpentry and some basic, he was going to Voc Tech, and he wanted to build houses and become a developer at the time. And now I think he's changed his mind. But now he's talking about being a doctor. But whatever you do, whatever schooling you go to, like, you don't just get thrown into it. It's through repetition, practice, and probably starting small and then doing that and getting really good at it and doing the next thing. And the auto industry for me, I mean, I happened to start out selling cars. I was selling cars, but before that I was in the hospitality business. So I dealt with people, which gave me a better ability to be flexible, because I dealt with a lot of personalities that used to come in, and it kind of transcended into the same thing with people coming in to buy trucks or SUVs or Highline car or whatever it might be. So, and then from there I went up to a floor manager, and it's called a TO, and then I went from there to being a general sales manager and finance manager, and I got a director of operations. So I kind of progressed in my career over decades, and I'm very confident in the business I'm in. Where if you drop me anywhere, anything has to do with the auto industry, I'm going to understand it, and I might do pretty well at it, better than many others. And then there's going to be some that are much better than I am. And to me, it's the same thing with most businesses. So if people get into business, and whatever their product or service is, if they surround themselves with people like me, meaning I could be as good or better than my boss. I had a boss that I worked for that I thought I had more ability than he was, but he's like, that's okay. He was never jealous of me. He's never competing with me. He was like, that's what I want. I want people that are as good as I am or better, because then I don't have to worry about the job getting done. And I always thought he was kind of, when I was younger, I was like, what does he know? And now that I'm older, I'm like, man, he really knew what he was doing, because he always had the right people delegated to each department, whether it was parts and service or the body shop or finance or what we call BDC, business development. So in each area had somebody delegated in charge that was as good or much better than he was. And all he did was just talk and watch over each thing and just keep adding and subtracting and filling in the gaps, because he was able to jump in wherever was needed. And he was good at that. So I watch these big companies like Tesla, and even companies now, where they lose those people that are A players, so to speak, or people that are able to make it happen and that want to grow the business and do things, bring a fresh look at things to the product or service. And then they bring people up, they bring people in, whether they're outsiders or people that are in their company that might be friends and family, that don't have the ability, and I'm not saying that can't be the case, but a lot of cases it comes down to personal choice and feelings and emotions versus I don't care if this person's my brother or sister or father or mother or cousin or wife or husband. He or she can't do this job as well as this person. I need to make that decision. And maybe that's a tough decision. Maybe it's a decision where people say, I'm going to choose family and friends over just the money. Okay, so I'm not saying that's wrong, right? But it depends on what your expectations are. It depends on what your targets and goals are. But companies that get to the level of like Tesla, right? That guy was working 120 hours a week, right? And I think he still works insane hours. He was doing what it takes. He was all in on his belief that the company would survive, to the point where many times people are like, it's done, it's bankrupt. It's a real interesting story. And then the people that he surrounded himself were really people that were very capable. And I have big respect for that. And I really, at this point in my life, I really am observant to that the people that are around you, whether it's a family member or friend that you might really, really like, right? Like I have a lot of acquaintances and then people that I like, and some of my distance, again, not because I'm better than them, but we might have a different belief system in certain things. And though I like them a lot, I might say, I don't get too deep involved with those folks, because we're just gonna we're on two different paths, so to speak. We have different things that we want to do with our life. So the values, right? Place, like, I don't want to go out and go to clubs and bars and do some of the things I used to do when I was younger, and some of my older friends still do that. So as an example, they're not bad guys, but they don't want to do the things that I want to do now, and therefore it's a choice where, like, if I wanted to do those things, it might affect my household, it might affect my health, it might affect my business decisions. Okay. And if I have a company and I have people that work for me, whether they're friends or family or people that I'm going to hire, it's not just about if I like them, right? I mean, I could like them as a person. Wow, I really like this person. But you also got to look at their ability to do the task. And education may not be the end all. Like, just because that person is massively educated doesn't just mean they're going to be able to do the job. There's other people that have a wealth of experience and a ton of ambition and drive that will carry them to carry you and your company to a new level because they really want to succeed. They want the chance, and they may go on to do bigger things than with your company, whether they work for you or with you, and that's okay. Like, I'm happy to have met some of those people and work with some of those people. So that's all I was really thinking about today, because I was listening to this podcast, and it was talking about that, like Tesla, and where it was talking about how Elon Musk wants to hire people that are the best, right? And he cuts the people that aren't to his standard. So, and necessarily, like, it may be necessary to do that if you want to just keep going and you're not just happy. Because I do know companies that are like, we're happy where we're at. As long as we maintain and we have a slow growth, then we don't have to be as competitive or as big. There's a major company in the auto world. I won't drop the name, but it's a massive company, local company, owns I want to say 60 stores. I heard, right, the rumor is that they're selling. The owner is quite advanced in age. He's still very sharp, but he doesn't really have a successor. So my guess is that, or at least he does, but it's not somebody that wants to take over the business. So this person will probably sell, if he hasn't already, the rumor is he has, that he will sell this company, this portfolio, a collection of dealerships, which I had worked for some time, for a lot of money, right? It's and another company will say, this will make a nice addition to our portfolio, because here's what it generates between all its franchises, all the department, all the real estate and everything that it owns. And, those opportunities that are there right now, some of the guys that I know that could acquire that, like, or maybe pursue that, told me, I'm not interested in that. I asked, I said, why don't you go after that? And he's like, I wouldn't. I'd want one or two or a couple of them, but they don't want to piece it out. It's like one portfolio, one lump sum. Like, you could buy it all or not at all. And they're happy with that. So, some folks are gonna be happy with where they are, and there's nothing wrong with that, I think. And other people are gonna want to go, much farther. When I was younger, I'm gonna leave it at this. When I was younger, I remember I was, when I was single, in my 20s, I met this girl, and she was a sweetheart. She's a beautiful girl. She was really, like, I really liked her. But at that time in my life, there was other things I wanted to do, and she gave me kind of a choice. She said, do you want to stay here with me, or are you going to, go on to the other things that you want to do, which I did. And that was it. There was no trying to make it work. There was no long distance relationship. We kind of went on. I think we talked a couple times over the past 20 something years, but yeah, no, we just kind of went on our way. And that's what happens sometimes in relationships and in business relationships, or even I have family members I don't talk to because they're doing different things. But that's what I was thinking about here on Sunday. As far as that goes, there's really no massive topics, just conversation. So hope everybody has a good Sunday with your friends and family, whatever you're doing. It's productive. And right now it's fall. Here's the lot. You can see they just cleared all those trees, next across from me. So I tried to buy that lot, but it didn't work out. I had a falling out with the neighbor actually over that, because it might have worked out for the best, because now this person's building. It's not the optimal time to be building. I don't know the guy's position that bought it, but and I don't even know if maybe the neighbor's involved in it. But I'm just looking at this land. I'm like, the opportunity. So there's some opportunities that come across that you miss, and it's okay. This one's looking at me right in my face, but but that's how it goes. Sometimes things stay in front of you that you think about for a long time, but you just kind of got to dust it off and say, okay, what's next? What now? What's next? So I'll see you guys later. Have a good weekend. I'll see you tomorrow, the next day.